have had a whirlwind of a past few days, and unless you are living under a rock, then you would have seen the assassination attempt on President Donald Trump, and you would have also seen how ridiculous the media coverage was of it. And some people are saying, with how skeptical we are being of the media, that they didn't want to make assumptions and then have to retract and edit, so they wanted to play it safe. But maybe that would have been true for a few headlines, but every single headline was kind of running around the actual situation and saying that he had fallen or Secret Service had interrupted, but none of them wanted to say that there was a shooter or an assassination attempt. And even the ones that are saying shooter, that term is being used what seems deliberately instead of the very evil and obvious thing that it was, which is they tried to kill a former president. When it comes to the accountability of this, I don't like blaming anyone but the person that acted. And I think that there's a lot of people that are blaming the media right now, and they're saying that they should be held responsible for this young man's really deranged actions. But we've seen that on the other side as well, where people try to blame people on the right, or specifically Donald Trump, when it comes to January 6th. And they're like, well, his rhetoric is what led us here. His divisiveness is what led us here. I like to place blame in the individuals because I believe in autonomy, and I don't think that casting that off onto anyone else is fair or it's right. And I think it becomes a very slippery slope. Some of the criticism when it comes to the mainstream media outlets and where the blame is being suggested is by calling him Hitler, a threat to democracy, a dictator, someone who needs to be stopped, a threat to national security, and an enemy of the state. Now, while all of those things seem super hyperbolic and obviously not true, I think when you have that repeated enough, it's very easy to get into a place where you feel like the person is a genuine threat to your livelihood, the existence of the country, and that maybe you have to take matters into your own hands if something or someone's not changing. Where is the line between free speech and the media's obligation to tell the truth to people, and journalists' commitment to the truth that used to be a standard that seems to have kind of gone extinct? I don't know. That is for much smarter people than myself to decide, but I think that the decentralization of information via Substack and individual journalism is going to solve that problem, until eventually I think you're going to start seeing these groups kind of hodgepodge together and then end up being the new legacy media, and then it'll probably get too big again and pop and get decentralized again. But the assassination attempt sure did seem to bring a lot of people that were on the fence into full-blown support for Donald Trump. I don't know if that's just my algorithm or if that is what you're seeing too. Let me know. I saw Brett Weinstein make his post. I reposted it. I sent it around to a bunch of other people. I've been saying something very similar. I know a lot of people have had the same thought. It's unity is what matters right now, and anyone who's pushing divisiveness just needs to fuck off, because this is the problem right now, is this othering and thinking the other person is an existential threat to democracy in your life and your country. I think we need to come together. That ticket would have been awesome, but we know that Trump now picked his new VP, which is, I don't even know this person. Marianne Williamson, who I'm not a big fan of. I've got some friends that are very big supporters. I don't understand how. She tweeted, JD Vance is Trump's choice for VP. His views on women are particularly interesting. We are effectively run in this country by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and their choices that they've made. So they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. Unquote. Lovely, says Marianne Williamson. I retweeted it, and she's not being treated kindly in the comments. There seems to be a lot of people that are anti-natalist, anti-family, don't want to conserve anything, miserable, that are making a lot of laws and policies that are going to affect future generations. If you don't have children, and you particularly don't believe in having families and you think that that is a threat to the climate, I don't know that you should be in a position that is going to impact said future generations. The way that you view life after you become a parent is profoundly different. The way that you think is profoundly different. And it's not to say that you have to have kids to be in a leadership position, but I do think that there should be more people that do have families than that don't, because you need to be able to relate to something that goes way beyond your single, maybe 80 to 100 years. You're thinking about your great grandchildren and how things are going to affect them. And then the things that you worry about are profoundly different. Some things become so small, and other things that seemed to not be an issue become very pressing. So, I mean, I don't disagree with that quote, but again, I don't know a lot about him, but I retweeted it and I thought it was funny. And I just like to stir the pot a little bit.